We did decide to do percents and decimals and fractions and how to change numbers back and forth from one format to another. So let's look at that. We're going to start with going from a percent to a decimal. So we have this 47.1%. I'm just writing it bigger so we can see it better. I want to get rid of that percent sign and end up with a decimal. So which of my four things that are equivalent to that percent symbol is the easiest one? Yeah, the second thing, 2 decimal point scoots to the left. So I can say that that's the same as 2 decimal point scoots to the left. So I'm getting 0.471. Everyone okay with that one? What if it wasn't 47.1? What if my number was just 47%? Now I don't have a decimal point staring at me. Go ahead, just call it.
You're moving to the right. You always assume that there's a point at the end of the whole number.
Yeah, if it's a whole number, it's like there's a decimal point hiding next to it, right? Between the tens column, and we don't have one, but what would be a tenths column if there was one. So that's where the decimal point is hiding. We're still going to the left 2 spaces, because that's our rule. But sometimes if you can't see the decimal point, you just have to know it's there. So far, so good? Yeah. Okay, so try on your own to do A, B, C, and D down below. 3%, 30%. I'm just going to rewrite them. 103% and 10.3%. It will be the same method we just did. You're just doing it 4 times. While you're doing that, I'm going to grab something. Yes, you have a bus to catch.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh.
Okay, let's do A. So what do we do with this 3? Yeah, I'm scooting twice for the first time now. I'm scooting it past where there's a number. What am I going to do? You put a 0 there.
There's nothing there. 0 means nothing.
I'm also adding a 0 before the decimal point, but like we talked about Tuesday, that's just because I'm lecturing. It's a little clearer. If you were sitting next to me doing math, studying for a test or office hours or study group or something, I might not put that 0. It's not needed. Okay, 30%. We want to get rid of that percent sign. What do we replace it by? 2 there. Just 0.3 or 0.3. Everyone get that one? Okay, 103%. You could write a 0 here. That's not wrong. It's not necessary, it doesn't change anything. Okay, 103, we got rid of the percent sign, so we have to sort of pay for that with 2 decimal point scoots. We're at 1.03. Is it okay to have a percent that's bigger than 1?
Yes.
So 103%, say I invested some money in the bank, I'm trying to retire, I get old, now I have 103% of what I used to have in the beginning. My investment got bigger. So 103%, the 100% is how much I put in myself, and the 3% is how much it grew. It's more than the original amount. It's bigger than what used to be there. So yes, it can be bigger than 1. This 1 is like the times 1, the money I put in the bank is still there, they didn't steal it. And then the 0.03 is like how much bigger it got, 3% bigger. Okay, 10.3%. I have a 10.3. So what am I going to do? Move the decimal, yep, exactly the same game. Now I get 0.103. Anyone have questions about any of those? I want someone to tell me how to shade in 30%. 30 out of 100 squares. Okay, so pardon my artwork. You are not here because I'm an artist, but roughly that. Everyone happy?
Yeah.
Okay, how about 3%? That's 3 squares. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's the tricky one. What about 0.3%?
No.
Yeah, each square is 1%, right? So this is less than 1%. It's about, it's not even quite a third of a square, because that would be 0.33. So again, pardon my artwork. I'm taking a little less than a third of a square and shading it in. So you can have a 0.3%, and that just means it's not even a whole percent. It's less than 1 square on the grid. Then I would need 2 boxes. I'd shade in all of 1 box, and then I would shade in 3 more squares also. Does that make sense? Okay, so we have done going from percent into decimal. What do you think we're going to do next? Decimal into percent. Yes, let's do this one backwards before we get complicated with fractions. So we saw this earlier today. I can't just add a percent symbol to something. That means divide by 100. And I can't just divide by 100 because I want to. That changes the number. So if I have 0.76 and I want to just slam a percent symbol there, I have to pay for it. And I have to do the opposite of what I did to get rid of it. So before I was going to the left twice. Now I'm going to go to the right twice. I need a times 100 to balance out the fact that the percent symbol itself means divided by 100. If I have 3.3%, what is that going to be?
0.03.
Again, I will scoot twice this side. I need to put a 0 here because I scooted past my number. Right, so whoops.
Right at 33. says the right 3.3%.
Oh, I'm doing it backwards. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's not the problem I want. We did that. We don't need more of that. I'm just copying and pasting blindly. Now let's just make one up. Let's do the one I was trying to do. So let's write 3.3%. No, let's write 3.3 as a percent. That's what I was trying to do. So then I will take my 3.3. I want to put a percent symbol on there. But if I do that, I have to pay for it. So there we go. Sorry about my mistake. I'm sloppy. Okay. So this again is if I have 3 copies of something, I have 3 whole grids of 100 squares. And I have more than that. So it's okay that my percent is bigger than 100. That's 3 whole squares and 30s. Little shaded in there. Okay, there is a trick to remembering this called rip lop. And I am going to say this all the time in the next 10 weeks. Rip lop stands for right into percent, left out of percent. So if you are making a percent, you go to the right. If you are getting out of percent, whoops, then you go to the left. Rip lop doesn't say 2 scoots, but it's always 2 scoots because percents are always about 100 and 100 is always 2 decimal point scoots. This is 2 zeros on 100. So rip lop is our fun acronym, right into percent, left out of percent. So I will in the future write things like, let's take 76% and make it a decimal. Then I am going to say something like left out of percent. And that's my teacher jargon for we're using the rip lop rule and I'm underlining left out of percent because that's the path we're actually doing this. Or if we wanted to say what is 0.234 as a percent, then I want to go into percent. So now I will use the rip part of the rule. Everyone happy with that? Okay, if you have never heard of rip lop, that is not your fault. You should go write a nasty email to whatever teacher has taught you percent and say, why didn't you teach me the rip lop rule? I shouldn't have had to wait till today to learn it. Okay, just for the sake of video size, I'm going to stop and restart. We've done percents to and from decimals. We'll do fractions next as a different video.